Hi guys, this is Zero Budget Geek and welcome to another episode of the Sentinels of the Multiverse Hero Guides. Today we are looking at Tempest, probably one of my favorite characters to play in the game. He is basically a weather control hero. He has lots of different powers and abilities, and pretty much if there's a problem on the board, Tempest usually has some kind of answer to it. So let's dive right in and take a look at what he has to offer. So right off the bat, his base power is Squall. It lets Tempest deal all non-hero targets 1 projectile damage. So that alone is just gonna, if you total the amount of damage he's gonna be doing a turn, it's just a lot. It's just spread out by among a lot of targets. If you get any kind of damage boost on Tempest, this power gets insane. So one of the better starting powers for the hero cards. Let's go right into his card. So here we have Aquatic Correspondence. It's a one-shot that simply draws you 3 cards. It's an okay card. It will help you if you're searching for a particular card in your deck, but otherwise usually you will have more important things to play. But if you're finding yourself stuck, throw this card out and dig through your deck. Ball Lightning. So not only is Squall good, not only is Tempest good at doing massive damage with his Squall ability, he can do some very good targeted damage. Here we have Ball Lightning. He deals 4 lightning damage to 1 target, and you may destroy up to 2 ongoing cards. So there he has an answer to ongoing cards with the bonus of being able to do lightning damage. Generally you want to use this card for its ability to destroy ongoing cards and not so much the damage. However, if you need to take out a villain target now, use it. Alright, here we have Chain Lightning. Here is an area effect card that is targeted. It will let Tempest deal 4 lightning damage to 1 target, and then 3 damage to a second target, and then 2 lightning damage to a third target. Now bear in mind that those are 3 separate targets. You can't use it all on one target. So if you only have 2 in play, then 1 instance of this card will pretty much be wasted, but otherwise a very, very solid card. Here we have Cleanse and Downpour. When you put this card into play, all the other heroes will cheer, because when you use the power on this card, each hero target will regain 2 hit points, making it one of the best healing cards, if not the best healing card in the game. So if everybody's down on their luck and is hurting, get this out and start healing everybody, including yourself. Here we have Electrical Storm. The earlier you can get this into play, the better it will be overall. At the start of your turn, Tempest will do each non-hero target 1 lightning damage. So it's just so great. You put this card out and you pretty much can forget about it, because it's just gonna keep doing ongoing damage on every one of your turns. So there's very little drawback to that. It is limited, so you can only have 1 in play at a time. Then we have the Elemental Subwave Inducer. Now this is a little bit of a weird card. It is an equipment card and it's limited, so you can only have 1 in play. And at the start of Tempest's turn, he can select a damage type. All damage that he deals of that type, or rather all damage that he deals will be of that type for the turn, and any damage that he receives of that type will be reduced by 1. So you can choose to make his damage fire, and any fire damage that he receives will be reduced by 1, and all damage that he deals out will be of that type. So it's useful to help you get around any kind of damage immunities. Again, like I said, Tempest pretty much has an answer for everything. Here we go, Flash Flood. It's a one-shot. It lets you destroy up to 2 environment cards. So here is his answer to environments, and you want to try to hold on to this card to get the max benefit of it, of using it to destroy 2 environment cards, but you won't always have that luxury. So if there's a really problematic environment cards, just use this card and just try to get through your deck as soon as possible and draw some more. Alright, Genebound Shackles. This is sort of a late mid to late game card. It's another equipment card. It increases damage that Tempest deals to the villain with the highest hit points, which is usually the main villain. So it's just another damage booster that he has. And we have Grievous Hailstone. This, once you get this into play, it's going to replace your basic Squall ability. It does 2 cold damage to all the non-hero targets, so that it's strictly better than his base power. Into the Stratosphere. This is a fun card. You can select one non-indestructible villain card in play other than a character card and put it on top of the villain deck. So that alone is gonna remove or temporarily remove a problem for you, and it's gonna slow the villain down because they have to redraw and replay that card again. In addition, Tempest will do that villain target with the highest hit points 2 projectile damage, and then, again, that's usually the main villain, so not only do you temporarily get rid of a card, you'll get to do some damage on top of it. What's not to like there? And then we have Lightning Slash. This is just a straight up damage card. Deal 5 lightning damage to 1 target. Enough said. And we have Localized Hurricane here. Little bit of a weird card. You got to be careful with this. All damage that Tempest receives while this card is in play is increased by 1, so you got to be careful. Because you're gonna start, you're gonna get hurt while this is out. And this card has 2 different powers that you can choose from. Well, one is just to simply destroy this card and get rid of it. The other is a little bit tricky. It lets you deal up to 2 targets, 3 projectile damage each, and you may draw 2 cards. Not that tricky. Throw this out and draw the 2 cards. It is usually worth the damage that you're gonna take back, because you're gonna be able to get your cleansing downpour and heal, or do all kinds of stuff. If things start getting bad and you start taking a lot of damage, that's why you have the power to destroy this card immediately. So that's Localized Hurricane. Otherworldly Resilience, very simple card. Reduce damage dealt to Tempest by 1. So you can use this card once you have this in play to get rid of the drawback of Localized Hurricane, and kind of get everything on an even level. So this is limited, so you can only have 1 in play, but generally throw it out as soon as you can. Reclaim for the Deep. Not used that often, but it can, when you have nothing else better to play, this is pretty good to use. Each player may take a card from their trash and put it on top of their hero deck, and then you get to draw a card. So everybody gets a card back. You get to draw the card that you put on top of your deck. But generally, this is kind of a situational card. You really only want to use it when there's a specific reason to get certain specific cards back from the discard pile, or unless you have nothing else better to play for the turn, you can just play this card and move on. Shielding Winds. This one sounds good on paper, and then in reality doesn't really apply all that much, but there are some instances when it works out. It is an ongoing limited card. Whenever a hero target will be dealt 5 or more damage from a single source, reduce that damage by 2. There's not a tremendous amount of sources that do that much damage, but they are there, and when that happens, you'll be glad to have this card. But I would say this isn't as much of a priority as some of his other cards, like his Electrical Storm or his Cleansing Downpour. If you take a look, this reduces, so you would take 5 damage, reducing it by 2, making it 3. Whereas the Cleansing Downpour kind of does the same thing by giving you 2 hit points back. So Shielding Winds is okay, because you don't just play the card and leave it out there, but generally, like I said, you usually have better things you can do with your turn. And then we have Vicious Cyclone. You play this card next to a target. I usually recommend the main villain, and at the start of your turn you can discard up to 3 cards. Tempest will deal that target 1 projectile damage for each card discarded this way. Once you destroy whatever target you're using this against, you'll lose this card. So that's why I use it against the main villain, and then you can just chuck cards at him to damage him. This pairs really well with the Localized Hurricane. So you do a bunch of damage, draw some cards, and then discard those cards to the Vicious Cyclone to do some more damage. And that is Tempest. He pretty much does not have any weaknesses. He has ways to reduce damage to himself, heal himself and his other partners. He can get rid of environment and ongoing cards. He can get rid of some problematic cards, and he can just deal out area effect damage as well as specific targeted damage. So there is almost no situation that Tempest is not useful. So I pretty much almost always put them on a team that I'm building, unless for a specific reason I don't want them in. But hard to think of what that would be. So that will be it for this episode. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you for the comments that you guys are putting in the down in the comment section. They're helping me out. I want to make this series much better for you guys, and I can only do that with your feedback. So make sure you take a look at the annotations and down in the description box for links to other episodes in this series. So until next time, see you soon.